Edmonton's newest asset makes his debut in orange and blue as Corey Perry returns to NHL action. We get you set for the Oilers and Predators right here on the Oil Stream pregame show. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you're doing well on a lovely Saturday afternoon. Here in Edmonton, the Oilers taking on the Preds, wrapping up a 3-game homestand and looking to do it in style and go perfect throughout the month of January. Join the conversation. Hit us up in the inbox, 780-218-9999. Or if you're watching on our EST YouTube channel, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And then get in on the conversation via the nasty chat as we get you set for today's action. All right, 14 games on the NHL schedule. And it's going to be an exciting one. A couple games underway already. Second period, Boston leads Philadelphia 5-1. 3 minutes left in the second period. If you were watching and listening to Belzy and I and YouTube Trev earlier today on Hello Hockey, we appreciate it. That was quite the episode. Belzy spitting fire today. So he was bringing it. He had a lot to say, and be sure to check out that episode of Hello Hockey. And then, of course, Dave Pagnotta, who broke the Corey Perry signing with the Oilers earlier in the week. Pagnotta, if you haven't watched or heard Hello Hockey yet, he is our Hello Hockey insider, and we had Dave on talking about rumors around the National Hockey League, and great show, and it's picking up momentum, which is fantastic. We're in season 2 because we started it back at the old shop, much like a lot of these programs, like this pre- and post-game show, for example. And so just going to pump the tires of Hello Hockey because I can. And a member of that team is YouTube Trev in the EST studios. You want to get on camera today, YouTube Trev? What do you want to do, pal?
Yeah, let's we can do that for sure, Tommy. Here,
Sure.
Just give me a few seconds. Oh, wait, and boom, there we are. Let's go.
There he is.
How are we doing, everyone?
Good. I think I made good time.
I was just going to say, record timing. I was pretty impressed.
And to change and to get everything set up in the EST satellite studios, it worked out okay. You know what's the most frustrating part, though? Traffic coming to the rink to go to the game, obviously. Puck drop-in is an hour and 25 minutes away. And then you get the deliveries, try to go down a back alley where all the high-rises are, right in the middle of the crowd getting ready for the game. People try to park. People try to get home to host the pregame show. I think all things considered, Trev, we did okay.
Yeah, it's I think so for sure. Like, I'm still getting adjusted to the city driving. It's crazy. Back home, Pincher, for all of you that know, it's like a town of 4,000 people. So to go from one side of the town to the other, it takes maybe 4 or 5 minutes. And so driving 45 minutes for me is just, I'm still getting used to it. So I think you made really good timing, especially I forget that I'm in the city, and when there's an Oilers game going on, I'm just like, oh my gosh, the most cars I've ever seen in my life, Tommy. So you did good, buddy. Record timing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that very, very much. We're getting texts coming in already. Rob from LA. I like this photo, Rob. He's got a 6 o'clocker lager sitting on what looks like a fire table, and he's got the nice windows going, view of I'm assuming this is like an acreage. Rob from LA, that looks great. Hope that 6 o'clocker is hitting just fine on a lovely Saturday as we get you set for the Oilers and the Preds. Hit that thumbs up button, please, and thank you. We appreciate that very, very much. And Merville says Tommy, or Tony, no Tony here, but I'm assuming that's a Tommy. Are you going to participate in the ice climbing championship? No, that's going to be happening in the district, the park. I've seen them. They're setting it up. It looks kind of neat, very high and scary. And they had climbers going up there testing out the ice wall and everything. And I was like, ugh, it's melting. Scary.
Yeah, I was wondering how that thing was going to stand with the weather, because today it was beautiful, and last night it was just it's so funny. It's cold in Canada. It's cold in Canada when it's like plus like 3, and we're like, wow, it's nice out there today. But it's kind of funny. I was driving by and I seen that the other day. I'm like, what the heck is this? But looks I seen climbers on it. I'm like, this is new. That'd be fun. EST, see us all climb on that. Hey. I don't know who would win.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks. I'll let the pros do that. All right. Matt Kassian will be joining us later on for Game Changers, and the 28-15-1 Oilers putting their 15-game winning streak on the line against the 26-21-1 Nashville Predators. Question of the night with Corey Perry making his debut with the Oilers. What is your expectation of Corey Perry as an Oiler for the rest of the season? We want to hear from you, 780-218-9999, and in the Nasty Chat. What do you expect from Corey Perry this season as he makes his Oilers debut? YouTube, Trev, as is tradition, you get the first crack at the question of the day/night.
For sure. So first off, like I'm so pumped. I'm so excited to see what he can do out there. It's going to be interesting. Whether there's going to be lots of mixing and matching. I think, right? I don't think it's going to be set in stone whatever line he is on, which we will get to in a bit here. But no, like as far as expectations go, we know what kind of a player Corey Perry is, right? He's not the Rocket, the Hart Trophy winner way back in 2010-11, and he hasn't been like that for a while. But we talk about the experience that he brings, and he's going to chip in offensively every now and then. So maybe I'm thinking for, as far as points goes, at Nick Bjugstad level, like kind of what we saw. And I was just looking at it last year when the Oilers got Bjugstad in his 19 games played. He got 4 goals, 2 assists for good enough for 6 points. So I think, it's not bad. I think you're going to get right around there, maybe a little bit more, because Perry was actually on pace for one of his better seasons with the Chicago Blackhawks to start the season. Obviously, he was getting elevated minutes. He was kind of the guy where, you look where he was playing in Tampa Bay the previous seasons. He wasn't getting those minutes, so he can score. He has that potential to be he chip in on any given night. I wouldn't say every night, right? But I'm thinking maybe what do the Oilers have? If he can get like 15 to 20 points in the last like 40 games of the season, I think that's solid, right? And time will tell. That only will get elevated if he is playing with Leon Draisaitl. Time will tell to see where he does fit in and what's best for him, and then you go from there. But that's kind of where my expectations are, Tommy.
Perry with 4 goals, 5 assists, and 9 points, -5 through 16 games earlier this year with the Chicago Blackhawks. Has not played since November. 15, 20 points I think would be really nice. That would be a good contribution. Tilt the ice when he's out there, help provide depth, let the Oilers roll 3 lines consistently. Maybe at some point they can confidently roll 4 lines. We heard Dave Pagnotta today on Hello Hockey saying he brought it up unprompted. We didn't ask him about the Oilers. He said, hey, I think the Oilers are still in the mix for another veteran forward for the bottom 6. So we'll see where that goes. And he says chatter is picking up big time. And so we'll see what happens. But a lot of rumors swirling out there. Pagnotta all over it, as he usually is. So Corey Perry making his debut. What's your expectation of Corey Perry as an Oiler for the rest of the season? Let us know, 780-218-9999, and in the Nasty Chat. I want to get to a couple of these. This one says, cut, paste, /send from Papa Wolf in Red Deer. Afternoon, boys. The Wolf is in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico on a ship in his nasty jersey. It's hot and humid, and all these cruise ship people keep asking what an AM nasty is. Myself and the only other Oilers fan on the ship are hoping for offense and tight D. Let's go, Nasties. From the Wolf via Papa Wolf in Red Deer. Thank you, Papa Wolf, for sending that in. From the Wolf, Jason in Leduc says, guys, I posted a pregame song on X. Tagged you, Tommy. Doesn't sound like you had time to check it. I saw the post. I didn't listen to it. I had to whip home. So it's a parody of I Feel It Coming called The Cup Is Coming. And a middle finger emoji to PK Subban from Jason in Leduc. Did you have a chance? Trev, did you catch it?
I didn't see that one, unfortunately.
I'll send it to you. I just quickly saw Jason in Leduc sent it. I will send it to you. You can have a look and listen, and then maybe we run it if it's appropriate for the airwaves.
Okay, yeah,
What do you
let's do
think?
that. That's a good game
Okay,
plan.
I'm gonna fire it over to you, Trev. Right meow, and you can proceed with the vetting process. All right,
Sounds
and then
good.
if you approve, we'll play it for Jason and Leduc, who came up with a parody song, and we kind of appreciate that. How about Dallas with the songs, the Johnny Cash stuff he's been pumping out, and we've been running it. It's just so good. Did Lieutenant Eric get his hands on the Johnny Cash stuff? Because
Uh,
he's the one who produces like all interjects all the clips and stuff from the goals and all that.
I don't know if LT has it, but I know for sure Dusty does. And we were playing
Okay.
that on the morning show quite a bit there. And
Does
it
it
was
have
fun.
the goal calls in it yet, or was it just the song?
It was just the song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully they get a chance to mash it up because great stuff from Dallas, and we'll see. We'll let Trev vet the song from Jason and Leduc, and if it's good, we'll play it right here and to get you going and to get you pumped up for the Oilers and the Preds. This text comes in. It says, looking forward to a January sweep just like our Oilers. I'm out here munching data, inspecting pipelines. Go Oil from X-Ray J. X-Ray J, good work out there. A nice, beautiful day. Thank you for munching that data. Num, 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 num. As we get you ready for today's game. This text says, CP90 will be a regular in the top 6 playing with Connor or Leon. This is a previous Rocket Award winner. He knows how to put the puck in the net. All depends on if his legs can go. That's a good text there. Appreciate it. Maple Jed chiming in says, good afternoon, boys. I'm counting on the mayor of Smashville to carry the Oil to 16 straight wins. Could you please run the lines if I miss them? From Maple Jed. Maple Jed, I will run the lines right now at your request, my friend. This is what we're anticipating from the Oilers this afternoon as they take on the Preds. McDavid between Draisaitl and Hyman, Arnage with Kane and Fogle, Ryan McLeod with Dylan Holloway, and Corey Perry. Kind of weird to say it, but he is an Oiler. CP90, as some have dubbed him. He's on that third line with McLeod and Holloway, so he'll have to play quick hockey with those two guys who can burn young legs, and then Corey Perry. Fourth line, Derek Ryan with Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. That means Sam Gagner comes out of action. No real surprise there. Tugs on the heartstrings, I know that, but Connor Brown getting the look ahead of Gagner. Of course, keep in mind Connor Brown getting more special teams time on the PK. Sam Gagner doesn't really get that. A little bit of cookies time for Gagner on the second power play unit, but that's about it. On defense for the Oilers tonight, Nurse with CC, Ekholm with Bouchard, Kulak, and Desharnais. As for the Nashville Predators, this was the last updated lineup we had from them. Ryan O'Reilly between Philip Forsberg and Gustav Nyquist. Cody Glass centering Tommy Novak and Luke Evangelista. Colton Sissons between Yakov Trenin and Dennis Gurianov. And then you had Michael McCarron with Cole Smith and Kiefer Sherwood. On defense, Roman Josi with Dante Fabro. Ryan McDonough with Luke Shen. Jeremy Lauzon paired up with Alexander Carrier. We'll see if Tyson Barrie or Cole Smith is inserted into the lineup when the teams hit the ice for warm-up. Starting goalies, we anticipate Stuart Skinner getting the nod, of course. The 25-year-old, 22-9-1 on the season, 249 goals against average, 908 save percentage in 33 games this season. He will face Nashville for the first time in his career. Crazy. As for the Predators, we fully anticipate 28-year-old UC Saros getting the nod. He's 19-18-1 with the 291 goals against average, 904 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 38 games this season. Saros versus the Oil, a 3-5-1 record, 306 goals against average, 916 save percentage with 2 shutouts in 10 appearances versus Edmonton over the course of his career. This one from Brad from Crossfield texts in, says, boys, how much juice should I lay on a Corey Perry point or goal tonight? Ooh, I like the chances. I really do. I was joking on the Oil Stream yesterday and on other shows saying I think Perry gets a goal before Connor Brown, certainly. So we'll see. The juice, go for it. Go for it. Because I think the juice is good, Brad from Crossfield. I think the juice is good that Perry gets on the board in his Oilers debut today against the Preds. All right, YouTube Trev, do we have a verdict on the song from Jason and Leduc.
Yeah, so first off, like, Jason, what a voice you have. That's a very, very nice voice. I don't think I'll be able to put it on the Roadcaster, so unfortunately I don't think we can play it. But
how come? Like, what about how we pluck stuff from, like, so you can't pluck it?
So I could, like, would you want to like exit the show with that song? Like, like what we do?
Could, if it's good. Like, okay, how about this? What if Jason and Leduc just sent us the video?
Yeah, like I can grab the video, but like if we play, okay, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it.
Do you know how to do it?
Yeah. It's just I thought you were wanting to talk over while the song was playing. Okay.
No.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we could just pluck it, right? Like we do with other videos. Yeah, and you approve? Give us a little teaser of what you think people will like about it.
Yeah, it's just it's like a nice. I don't know. As far as like the production isn't the quality. I don't think is as nice as what Jonty and Victoria did or Dallas, because it's just like his phone recording it, right? So the audio isn't quite as good. But like he's got a great voice and the lyrics work. I think it's funny and it works. Yeah, it's good.
Okay, so we have a decision by YouTube, Trev. We will play Jason and Leduc's song. And I'm curious to hear it. I know he tweeted it at me, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. So Trev did the vetting. He approves. He's going to get it, and we're going to hear it a little bit later on in the show. Trev, should we go inside the Oilers locker room really quickly? Because I know you want to grab that video. I know we want to get Cass in at about 1:10. So why don't we go inside the Oilers locker room really quickly?
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, let's. We were just talking about him. First game as an Oiler. Let's hear from Corey Perry. Here he is.
Up here, maybe just a thought on how excited you are and what the journey's been like to get yourself ready here.
It's been, we'll see what happens. I mean, tomorrow, but that's kind of the plan. We'll talk to the coach later and see what it actually is. But no, I'm excited. It's been, like I said the other day in the press conference, it's been a long 2 months, self-reflecting, going through a lot of things, and I'm just excited to be here now.
You can try and stay in shape. I imagine you're skating with people, but doing it for real is a little bit different. So where do you think your legs will be at, and how's it felt in practice?
Practice has been good. Only 2 real practices, I guess you could say, a couple morning skates, but for the most part, I felt okay, and it's not the same. You can skate all you want by yourself and do all the things, but you get NHL players pushing on you, NHL goalies in the net. It's a different animal. So we'll see where it is tomorrow and go from there.
How do you feel about having 2 of the fastest skaters on the team on your line?
That works. Yeah, they can go get the puck and we'll do the rest. But it's I've been talking to them a lot. Talked to them a lot today, especially during practice on different things, what I like to do, what they like to do. Try to get a feel for their game, and it's all a learning process right now, and trying to take it all in.
You've been in the league a long time, so you know about the travel and the grind and all that stuff. But I'm just wondering, how has this week felt in terms of, okay, you got a contract. I'm trying to live in a city I've never actually lived in before and learn all these new teammates, like all mid-season, as opposed to changing teams in the summer.
Yeah, it's a little different, but the transition so far has been seamless. Everything from when I got here on Sunday night right through to every single day they're always asking questions and if I need anything, and that's just not management coaches, that's coming from players as well. So it's been a warm welcome, and everybody's just kind of embracing me, and I'm just trying to get to know everybody at the same time.
So any fans seen you in public, and if so, what have they said?
Yeah, I mean, I have to walk from the hotel to the rink. Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's been, like I said, it's been a warm welcome, and I'm just excited to get this thing going.
So you want to get your legs back and your timing back and figure out your teammates. What about the part of your game that all your opponents hate playing against? Does that just come back naturally? The gritty that...
That never leaves. Once the puck drops, it's 60 minutes, and you're trying to win the game. It doesn't matter where it is or what type of game it is, and that's been instilled in me from the get-go.
You have to work on that at all.
Not really. No, not really.
Same thing with the power play. You know where to go, even though they're talking about the second unit. I'm surprised you just didn't go and stand in front of the net as a net front, because that's where you usually go.
Well, that's where I was. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of been my home for 19 years in this league, and just do what got you here, right? That's the small thing that people say, but it's a big thing. Just do what got you here, and just keep pushing along.
The entire hockey world is talking about this win streak right now, 15 games, and we can only comment on what we see on the ice. You have a very unique perspective of joining this team inside this dressing room, getting to know the people. What is this dressing room like right now compared to past others?
Oh, you can tell that how close they really are. They're always, well, obviously when you're winning 50 in a row, you're going to be a little bit lighter in the dressing room and a little bit happier, but you can really see how close they are and what it means to them and what each person means to each other. So it's been a warm welcome for me, and I'm just excited to really get down to the nitty-gritty and play hockey, but foremost get to know everybody as well at the same time.
I know Shager already asked about your line mates. When we asked Dylan Holloway this past week about your addition, he called you a legend. What's your thought on that?
I don't know. I'm just a guy who just goes out and plays hockey and let everybody else talk. But that's nice.
Where did you skate, Corey, in all this time? With the team or on your own, or did you go back to London at all?
I was mostly in London. Yeah.
With the junior team?
No, I was by myself. I had my power skating instructor, Kathy McElwain, and then I would rent ice by myself. And over Christmas, I had my little guy with me. Other than that, it was.
Shooting on any goalies.
I had a goalie once. Yeah, my buddy, as you guys probably know, Danny Sabret brought a goalie out for me, and he was helping me out. So, it was tough. It's a little different, but the power skating does help, and especially I've been doing it for a while, every summer now for the last 5-6 years. So, you're up and down the ice, there's no rest, so it's good.
Sometimes a college team can say, "Yeah, come up with us. You can skate with us in the summer."
Yeah.
Ryan Smith did that once. He didn't have a contract with the Golden Bears.
Yeah. No, it just didn't work out. We went just a different route.
Sure, you jumped in a bit late. What's kind of you looking forward to the most about this opportunity, and even just about tomorrow? What kind of has you most excited about it?
Playing hockey again, getting back on the ice, and doing what I love, and what I've done for many years, and it's something that the 2 months, like I said, it's been a while, and it was a long road to get back here. A lot of like I said, self-reflecting and everything, and going through some things, but I'm excited. I'm a kid in a candy shop right now.
Will you be with some family in town, or what will it look like for you?
Yeah, my wife and little guy are coming in tonight, so I get to see them before the game tomorrow, and I'm sure he's decked out.
McDavid jersey?
Oh, probably.
All right, there's Corey Perry, the newest member of the Edmonton Oilers, making his debut with the club. It'd be funny if his kid was wearing a McDavid Oilers jersey, but maybe the Oilers got him a little Perry jersey. I'm sure it wouldn't take too long for them to whip it up. His body of work in the National Hockey League, Stanley Cup champ in 07, All-Star in 08, 11, 12, and 16, won the Rocket Richard Trophy in 2011, also won the Hart Memorial Trophy, first team All-Star in 2011 and 2014. By the way, did pick up a couple of gold medals at the Olympics with Canada in 2010 and 2014. So has certainly put together a storied career that has earned him legend status in the eyes of one Dylan Holloway. Speaking of Dylan Holloway, let's hear from the Oilers youngster right now.
He's 38 and doesn't skate fast. How's that going to work?
I think me and Claudio will push the pace a bit, and then, but I think once we get it down low, all three of us can buzz around, protect pucks and stuff. So I think all three of us will complement each other pretty well, and I'm excited to play with those guys. It should be fun.
Just wave them in, eh? As they're way up the ice.
Yeah, no, he's deceptively fast. I think it'll be good. So he's listening over there. But.
Did you have moments in your hockey fandom where you were frustrated at Corey Perry in your life? Did you have moments where you hated Corey Perry?
It's funny. My grandpa did for sure, but I always kind of loved the way he played. Obviously, I haven't played against him too much, so I'm not really too familiar with his antics. But I know he's got under a lot of guys' skins, and he's definitely a guy that you want on your team, not playing against. So I've always been a big fan of him growing up. I liked his game a lot. I thought he was very effective in the playoffs too, the way he's able to kind of get guys off their game. So to have him like on the same line as me and playing with him is going to be a lot of fun.
Are you ready to get drawn into a lot of post-whistle scrums?
Yeah, I'm down for it. It'll be fun. As long as he's taking the bigger guy, then I'll get in there. But
You were born in 2001?
yeah.
So he was in the Olympics when you were just a kid.
I know, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Yeah, I was saying last interview, I think he won a cup in 07. I was 6 years old, and I don't even remember that. I don't remember when I was 6, but he's winning cups before I basically even really learned how to skate. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool to be playing with him.
Sorry if you've already answered this, Dylan. We kind of joined a little bit late, but the impact he has in this dressing room, what does his presence mean to this group that's already rolling right now?
Yeah, he's been great so far. Obviously, it's a veteran presence, and he's won a Stanley Cup. He's been far in the playoffs a bunch of times, so he brings kind of that leadership and just that veteran presence that is needed to make a long playoff run. And I think he'll complement our team very well.
On a personal standpoint, sorry, Shagar, on a personal standpoint, you've had some pretty good outings since you've returned into the lineup. What's going well for Dylan Holloway right now?
Yeah, I feel good. Legs feel good. I feel healthy. I think the biggest thing for me is just keep skating, keep trying to play as hard as I can, play smart. It's one thing that I've been trying to work on is kind of be a bit more patient all over the ice and get in better areas. So just keep learning, keep playing smart, and then keep trying to play my game.
What's the messaging been from your new head coach since he's sort of getting to know you a little bit here?
Yeah, I think it's all about just building trust. Just building trust defensively. If you can make good plays defensively and not be a liability in the D zone, and then in the neutral zone, you're not turning pucks over. I think that goes a long way with the coaches, and then on top of that, if you're able to create some offense, then that's just a bonus. So I think the biggest thing for me is just playing smart and playing my position as best I can.
Is Chris's approach with the young players a little different at all? Have you noticed anything that kind of you appreciate that, I'm not saying was lacking from other past head coaches, but something that you really appreciate that he kind of tends to do?
Yeah, he's pretty vocal to the young guys. He's been giving us feedback, telling us what he expects out of us. When I came back from injury, my role was clear. He told me exactly what he expected out of me and what he wanted me to do. So just knowing that going into games and no questions, it makes it easier and makes it easier kind of to focus in on that goal and what to do. And then obviously over the past couple of games, he's given me a little more ice time, a little more opportunity. So I think the feedback that he's given back is pretty beneficial.
Is it for an NHL player to play center as a young player than wing?
Yeah, it's definitely different. I like both positions. Center, you can kind of buzz a little bit more, get more puck touches, and you're kind of moving all over the ice instead of being a little more stationary as a wing. So it's definitely a little different, but I like playing both positions, so it's all good.
To get back a little bit to help out the defenseman, the center, the third guy back.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, your defensive responsibility is a little bit more as a centerman, but on top of that, like sometimes when the wingers are getting blown up by the D on the wall, you're kind of just coming in and scooping pucks up and going to the other end of speed. So it's a good balance. Yeah.
All right, there's Dylan Holloway. He'll be playing with Corey Perry, who he called a legend when he answered. I think I asked him about that earlier in the week. And then the other player on that line will be Ryan McLeod. So lots of speed there from McLeod and Holloway. And then Holloway giving Perry credit, saying he's deceptively fast. And we'll see how that trio works together. The question of the day is, how do you think Corey Perry will do with the Oilers? And what are your expectations of him as an Oiler for the rest of the season? I saw a text that came in here earlier from Nick. And Nick via the Nasty Chat said, I'm late to the show. Has there been talk about how fast Perry comes out of the gate? I think he's going to come up fast and hard. Big hit, first shift. Yeah, I could see that. And then you heard Holloway joking there saying, I guess there's going to be more scrums as long as he takes the big guy. And that's, you know what? Bring it on. I like the stuff after the whistle. I don't mind it at all. Taylor from Indiana says, hey, guys. Finally, a game that isn't too late to enjoy. I'm excited to see if there's any chemistry tonight straight out of the gate on that Perry line. I'm curious, too. Has the potential to be a good line. It's unique. It's intriguing, certainly. And we'll see how it plays and how it fares today against Nashville. Vance Van Vandervan says, I'm in Edmonton, but because I'm paranoid, my internet is routed through an all-night brothel in French Indochina, so you can technically add a new pin to the map. That's funny. We've been adding a ton of pins to the map And let us know where you're watching from. If you're somewhere exotic, like Indiana, or maybe Stuttgart, Germany, like some people are tuning in from, but we'll pin it to the map. And I think the Wolf via Papa Wolf said he's in the Gulf of Mexico right now. We got texts coming in saying that they're at work in the oil field, listening, munching that data. So let us know, and we'll pin your location on our EST map of the world where people are tuning in from. 780-218-9999. We want to hear from you, your thoughts going into this one. Do the Oilers get it done? Do they get to a 16th straight victory? Are the Preds the team that snaps the streak? Do you anticipate the Oilers playing better? Because we heard Chris Noblock saying he wasn't too happy with how the Oilers have gotten the wins. He said the other day they did just enough to win the other night. And we saw Chicago come in here. The Oilers get the 3-0 win. We saw Columbus come in here. The Oilers get the win in that game. The process in which they did it wasn't particularly great, but they got the job done. And then we've heard Chris Noblock kind of air his grievances, if you will. YouTube, Trev, I know Matt Kassian will be joining us in a couple of minutes here. Do we have time for Jason and LeDuc's song? Should we play it right now and maybe play it again later? Want to give it a shot? Yeah, let's hear it.
I'll put myself on. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, this is Jason and LeDuc, and let's see how this goes. Hopefully the audio is okay. And okay, here we go.
This is what I really like. I don't see a loss inside. This team has taken flight, soaring to the top. I can see it in their eyes, so it comes as no surprise. Subban is filled with hate. I think this may be fate. They may spill some blood and spit some chiclets too. Making that cup run is very hard to do. Just a simple structure and good goaltending. We don't have to rush to score more than 3. The cup is coming. The cup is coming, babe. The cup is coming. The cup is coming, babe. The cup is coming. The cup is coming, babe. The cup is coming. The cup is coming, babe.
Is that it?
And then hard cut there. Yeah, it goes hard for like 10 seconds, 10 more seconds, I think. But yeah,
very good, Jason and LeDuc.
I can't do that. Yeah, that's solid. Good job.
I'm looking at the tweet he sent to me, and he included Parnell Carl Subban in it with a middle finger emoji.
Yeah,
Jason and LeDuc never change, pal.
That's good.
Never change. Shout out to Jess Jackson, watching the pregame show, doing some Oilers crafting. Hello, Jess. Thanks for turning on the show. Appreciate you. Jess over at the Bear, one of our dear friends. Certainly. So thanks, Jess. Appreciate that very, very much. 780-218-9999. If you want to text us, and you can also get in on the nasty chat. Box Pounder saying, it's a masterpiece. And what else do we have for a reaction? Here? A lot of people liking it. Penner's Pancake says that's money. Ken says, nice job, Jason. And Jason saying a thank you to everyone. Jeffrey says, nice song. Gavin says, good job. And then D. White says, does anyone know why 29 and 29 are still playing on the same line? We all know that combination will not win the cup. And I think D. White meant 29 and 97. I think they're just trying something. We heard Chris Noblock say that he wanted to provide a spark to this lineup, give it a bit of a jolt. And so in that game against Columbus, he put 29 and 97 together. I don't think it lasts. I think that they spread it out again. And I think that's the better recipe for success. But for the time being, to get this team into the break successfully with a 16-game winning streak intact, Chris Noblock and the coaching staff feels like that's the best route to go. It could change by the second period, like we saw on Tuesday against Columbus, right?
Yeah, it absolutely can change. And just going back to this, like Tommy, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl have really feasted on. They feasted pretty well on a lot of teams, as we all know.
Yeah.
But Nashville Predators, for whatever reason, especially Draisaitl, like just looking at it, there was a stretch where, I mean, he's almost scored a goal a game against in his career against Nashville. 24 goals in 25 games. Like that's super impressive. Like we talked about it, the McDavids and the Draisaitl's, they haven't really had to be supernova, which is nice. That is very nice. But the stars could be aligning. We talked about they haven't been scoring a heck of a whole lot lately. This could be the team that they just come lights out and just destroy them, right? So I kind of get that, but no, he's right. Like a recipe for success is definitely sharing the wealth, right? Having Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid hold their own lines, but I don't mind it. They won last game doing it. They're doing everything right, Tommy, and they're getting the wins for it. So it's hard to disagree with what Noblock's been doing because they're on a 15-game heater right now. So
yeah, that is a good point. I mean, the process is the frustrating part, and we've heard Noblock and we've complained about the first two periods against Columbus. We've complained about that first period against Chicago. So the process has been interesting of late, not ideal, but the end result has been there. And yeah, I don't think that the long-term solution is McDavid and Draisaitl together, as D. White was saying. Hey, he doesn't think it's a recipe for success. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with D. White. Nick wants to know the lines. We'll throw them out there one more time. Matt Kassian will be joining us shortly. It sounds like he spilled water on his keyboard. Did I read that right?
Yeah, you did. I'm laughing right now. Unbelievable.
Oh, way to go, Cass.
Rookie
way
move.
To go. All right. We'll go through the lines one more time, get to a couple of texts, and I'll reiterate the question of the day. What are your expectations of Corey Perry the rest of the way for the Oilers, making his debut today? He'll be on the line with McLeod and Holloway. All right, here are the lines for the Oilers. McDavid with Draisaitl and Hyman. Nugent-Hopkins with Kane and Fogle. McLeod centering Holloway and Perry, like I mentioned. And then Derek Ryan with Matthias Janmark and Connor Brown. On defense, no changes. Nurse with Ceci. Ekholm with Bouchard. Kulak with Desharnais. The scratch for the Oilers today, Sam Gagner. And we'll see when he gets back into the lineup, but not a lot of special teams action for Gagner. If people are going, well, Connor Brown, come on. Connor Brown barely done anything. Yeah, I know. But he does play on the Oilers PK, which PK has crept into the top 10 in the league. It's been excellent. Excellent this last couple of months. Started out horribly. I think it dipped as low as 28th at one point. And just Mark Stewart has gone to work on that PK, and it is working, certainly, for the penalty kill in Oil Country. For the Preds, this was the last update lineup-wise we got. If there's something that we see on X or Twitter during warm-up, we'll pass it along, certainly, but this is what we had. As of the last game, Ryan O'Reilly with Philip Forsberg and Gustav Nyquist, Cody Glass with Tommy Novak and Luke Evangelista, Colton Sissons centering Yakov Trenin and Dennis Gurianov, and then you've got Michael McCarron with Cole Smith and Kiefer Sherwood. On defense for the Preds, Roman Josi with Dante Fabro, Ryan McDonough with Luke Shen, Jeremy Lauzon with Alexander Carrier, and then out were Tyson Barrie and Cole Smith. Cole Smith is in the lineup. So Tyson Barrie. We'll see if Barrie gets in. I could see the motivation to play him against the Oilers. I know that he wants a trade. Him and Barry Trotz. There's been kind of a war of words recently in the last few weeks, and maybe Barrie gets into action. Old Vibe Daddy himself, as he was known around here, if he gets to play against his old team. Starting goalies for the Oil, 25-year-old Stuart Skinner, 22-9-1 with a .249 goals against average. 908 save percentage in 33 games this season. Skinner has never faced the Preds. This will be his first time going up against Nashville. And then at the other end of the rink, 28-year-old UC Saros, 19-18-1 with the .291 GAA, 904 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 38 games this season. Saros versus the Oilers in 10 appearances over the course of his career, a 3-5-1 record, 306 goals against average, 916 save percentage, 2 shutouts in those 3 victories for Saros. There he is. There's Matt Kassian We're going to say bye to YouTube Trev on the video portion. We'll slide in Matt Kassian, looking very comfortable. He's got the beanie on. Spilled water on his keyboard. Everything is functioning as it should. Cass, what's going on?
I don't know yet because the keyboard because I have my computer as a laptop and I have it sitting up and then I run a USB thing, so my keyboard's down. I'm not having to like type with everything way up there. So the separate keyboard, I don't know yet because I flipped it over, tried to dry it, unplugged it as quick as I could, and so I was running to the bathroom to grab towel to try to get as much water off. So it's sitting there turned upside down. We'll see what happens. Fortunately, it's one that's pretty old and not that nice. So at the end of the day, I'm not overly concerned about it. I just was in such an excited rush, Tom, to talk to you and to prep for this game. So I guess my own fault, but we're good. We're here. We're ready to go. Just like the Nashville Predators and the Edmonton Oilers.
Very nice, Cass. I almost believe you that you're super excited. Good sell job. And get that 1 kilo bag of rice on that keyboard. Hey?
Yeah, but then you have rice stuck underneath the keys. I don't know.
That's a fickle proposition, isn't it?
Yep.
All right, let's get to Game Changers now, brought to you by Damon Bunting, RE/MAX Elite. Damon Bunting, consistent top producing realtor in Greater Edmonton and among RE/MAX realtors. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Community driven, Damon understands what it takes to make a difference in our city. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Cast numero uno, Old Man Perry.
In the lineup, Grumpy Perry, Annoying Perry, Rocket Richard at one time, Perry, Stanley Cup winning Corey Perry, making his debut. And right, Tommy, in that spot where we said this would be the most interesting place for him to start as an Edmonton Oiler. So, going to play with some guys that have a little bit of speed, maybe brings this total speed down on that line with Connor Brown moving off. But I like it. I want to see what they're able to bring, want to see what Corey Perry is able to bring, want to see a little bit of that nastiness to his game. It's going to be an interesting look. Now, what are fair expectations game one? I don't think we should have massive expectations. You could see a little bit of rust still. You can skate all you want, practice all you want. Playing in a game is different. So I think it's not reasonable to say, we expect Corey Perry to score and get an assist and, a fight and do something else. Like it's, for him, I think a good game is just one where there's no big mistakes made. He can get his feet underneath him. Now, Tommy, there is a part of me that kind of does expect him to score. Just because of the whole Connor Brown thing, because that would be funny and interesting in a lot of ways. But I do expect, or I'm trying to keep my expectations tempered for his first game, where we shouldn't judge the rest of the season or how the rest of the season is going to look for Corey Perry based on today. But exciting nonetheless. As we've talked about at length, you have a lot of different looks now with Corey Perry stepping in. You have a lot of different things you can do, and it'll be good to see another grumpy old man in that lineup that plays with a little bit of an edge.
I have a couple of questions for you after that one. Old Man Perry being the first bullet point tonight on Game Changers, or today on Game Changers. I'll throw the question of the night at you and to our listeners and our viewers. Let us know your thoughts, 780-218-9999, or get at us in the nasty chat on YouTube if you're watching. And Cass, what is your expectation of Corey Perry as an Oiler for the rest of the season?
I think a healthy expectation is kind of that 13 to 15 points the rest of the way. I think that's a healthy, fair expectation to say from a point production standpoint, 13 to 15 points. Now, from an overall contribution standpoint, you want to see him bring a little bit of that edge and bring it along the way. I mean, you want to see him be able to do in a lot of ways what Sam Gagner has done and will continue to do if Sam Gagner is back in the lineup, of being that veteran presence that just seems to help in games. Like Sam, I mean, you could criticize Sam Gagner for different things. Sure. I mean, you can't critique his work ethic. You can't critique how he's, always around the net. You can't critique how he's managed to produce points. And you want to see the same sort of thing from Corey Perry. And I kind of fully expect to see that. And Gagner, I hope at some point will be right back in the lineup.
Right.
And if someone gets hurt, he's going to be right back in there. But you have seen, I think, the Oilers generally play better when Sam Gagner is in the lineup. And I think it's just having a guy that knows, not that McDavid and Draisaitl and Nurse doesn't. This isn't in any way, shape, or form saying that they can't, but having an old guy that plays a little bit of that gritty game, that just knows, just from pure experience, how to respond in a room after a period, how to respond, on the bench, what to say to guys, how to pull things out of guys. And it's important. It's important. And again, that's not saying that guys in the room don't do that and aren't good at that. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But there is just something about that veteran presence and a guy that's seen it, done it, been there, that I think helps. And I want to see that from Corey Perry too.
I'm seeing a lot of texts that I want to read, and we'll get to those shortly. I'm enjoying the nasty chat today. Actually, the text line's been pretty good too. But have you had any, or what kind of interactions have you had with Corey Perry on the ice during your playing days?
Not that many. I mean,
Damn.
he was at that point. He was he was putting up a lot of points. He wasn't playing on the third or fourth line, so I didn't see him very much. I was usually stapled to the bench or scratched. So,
but was he chatty? Was he chirping?
He was always running his mouth.
Yeah,
always running his mouth. I mean, I wasn't on the ice for it, but I remember I was watching this game. So this would have been, I was still in the minors. This was close to his peak. Or no, I wouldn't necessarily say peak, but when Anaheim was really, really good, him and Getzlaf. And I still remember we were watching the Wild game, so playing for the Wild farm team, but watching the Wild game against Anaheim.
Right.
Because watched a lot of hockey and you wanted to see how everyone's doing. And that was the game where Corey Perry stole Mikko Koivu's stick, which is the wrong hand, and scored a goal with it.
I remember that.
That was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable, and it should have been a penalty, but they didn't call it for whatever reason. He scores a goal, which was great. But no, he was a chirpy guy, which you can see that. I mean, I think someone made a comment, and I can't remember if it was text line or nasty chat, and this was a little while ago. It's actually, I think, was even before. Maybe it was right when the signing was announced. But the comment was, Louis going to have to be quick on the mute button in between benches because Corey Perry posts up right there. And he does. He will be the guy. It's like he doesn't always slide down the bench to the middle of the bench after he gets off the ice. It's like he kind of posts up right in that corner sometimes just so he can lean over the boards and just start mouthing off, which is great. And he's a guy that drives you nuts. Not fully snow the goalie enough to get a penalty, but we'll gently slide into him at the end of a play, that one extra stick, again, not enough to get a slash, but just pushing the pad a little bit, not enough to hurt the goaltender. Goalie's got a lot of pads. He's not going to get hurt in that, but enough to drive everybody nuts, where it's just like he's a scrum starter. He's a chirper. He does all that stuff very, very well. Now, in the past, he did it while putting up a ton of points, which was just what made him what he was and made him so good. And part of what made particularly Anaheim so good was, you had him doing that. You had Ryan Getzlaf, who's 6'5" and, plays actually quite physical, power forward type of game. Both guys very highly skilled, and it just made them incredibly deadly. Now, Perry, not at the same level he was at 38 years old, but he still has some of the skill and that nastiness to his game that hasn't gone away. It hasn't gone away. And as Oilers fans, we have been on the receiving end of that and seen that. So again, I think it's, the more, and we'll have to see with his play, but the more I've chewed on it and he's got closer to playing, the more I like the signing, really, right now.
Does a guy like that come in and start blasting chirps and posting up on the edge of the, right off the bat, even in his first game?
And usually it's even more so. So I'll use an example from my own life. So this was actually, funny enough, Ryan Getzlaf was on the receiving end of this, actually. So I got traded right at the trade deadline from the Vancouver Giants in the WHL to the Kamloops Blazers, just down the road, which was pretty rare. Now, as a straight up trade, me for Cam Cunning, who at the time was he was a Calgary. I think he was a second round draft pick to Calgary. He was Kamloops' leading scorer, and I think he was wearing the C at the time as well. So he was there. It was. I think Kamloops couldn't say no, or Vancouver couldn't say no to it. I mean, you're getting a leading scorer. There's some guy by the name of Milan Lucic who is coming up for the next year for the Mem Cup run, and I still, because I see him all the time, my GM Craig Bonner, I still absolutely give it to him. Although now, like, I'm like, yeah, you traded me right before the Mem Cup. Thanks, Scott. And he has actually learned a rebuttal. He used to always just kind of run away. Now he says, well, we won, Cass, so obviously I did something right. I'm like, okay,
fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough, Scott. You did okay. But right after I got traded, we actually had a Western swing in Kamloops. So my first couple games were against first 2 games were on a Western swing against Red Deer and Calgary.
Okay.
So that's as close. Edmonton wasn't in the league then, so that was as close to home as it got for me playing in the Western League. So all my family was out there, friends were out there. Emotional time. You being a part of an organization as a kid for a long time. And when I got traded again, it was like 10 minutes before the trade deadline. So you're walking in, you're getting ready for practice. All of a sudden, Toledo or Colin Robinson, the trainer, walks into the room. And he's like, "Hey, Cass, you got to come to the coach's office." In which you're like, oh. And I walked into the coach's office, and it was Don Hay and Craig Bonner and Scott Bonner and Toledo Robinson and Jason Ripplinger, who is the head of a lot of the player stuff and scouting. You had quite literally you had 8 of the management in the room, and I was like, oh boy, something's going on. And then you get traded, and it's I was really close and still am close with a bunch of guys in that team. And it was an emotional time, and joining a new team. It's an emotional time. You're trying to make a statement. And we weren't great in Kamloops at that time. And Red Deer and Calgary were really, really good. Needless to say, I'll skip to this here. But after that weekend and those 2 games, Devin Dubnyk, who was our goalie, we had a team meeting because we got absolutely spanked on that trip. And we had a team like players only type of meeting.
Yep.
And Devin Dubnyk was like, Cass, I know you're new here, but you got to stop taking penalties. Like after the first, I think I had like 20 minutes in penalties in both games. Ended up getting kicked out of both.
Shoot.
In the one, I suckered a guy by the name of Brent Carson. I told him, I'm like, we're fighting. We were down like 6-0. It was in the second period. I'm like, I'm going to go sit with my family. So I suckered him off the draw because he wouldn't fight me. And by sucker, like I dropped my gloves and grabbed him, gave him a second to drop his, and then just boom, one punched him. Yep. And then it was just spinning around waiting for someone. Ryan Getzlaff was the closest one to me. So I grabbed him. That was right after they I think they won the silver medal that year, and he had in the World Juniors he got hit in the face, so he had I know he had stitches down his chin. So I went to try to hit him, like punch him as hard as I could right in the stitches, and he ducked his head and I hit him right in the nose, and I got tackled by everybody. But then I got kicked out for suckering 2 people. Didn't get suspended. I don't know why I didn't get suspended for that, but
different times, man.
Different times. All that being said, you get really emotional when that happens. Like it's emotional, and those parts of your game that I would say are the core parts of your game, you kind of want to showcase them to your new team. You want to show your coaches, you want to show your management, you want to show your teammates, probably even more than coaches and management, what you're going to bring and what you're going to do. There's a very human element that sometimes we forget with hockey players, and even though it's not like Corey Perry was traded, he chose to sign in Edmonton and come here. There's still going to be just an emotional level from him. Now, with that being said, it's a little bit of a different situation than being traded because he hasn't played for a little bit. So, maybe has to get his feet underneath him. But when you're trying to do that, again, you're going to revert to the things that you're very good at. And for Corey Perry, being a little bit of a poop disturber, that's what he's really good at. Now he's got skill too, and he does other things well, but that's, I think, probably the first thing. And if it was me, that's the first thing that you're going to try to do. So I just absolutely expect him to be just running his mouth and going all that. So I went way over time on that, but who cares?
I enjoyed that thoroughly. And even Trev did. He said, let's go. I love this one punch Cass. So you got Trev excited, and I love those old stories. So that's a good one. That wraps up the first bullet point of Game Changers. Although I did ask you like 2 follow-ups, and understandably so. Game Changers brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 2, Cass, gossip goalie.
Trade rumors for the Nashville Predators. All of a sudden, your almost perennial Vezina candidate in Soros is, there's some rumors starting to float around out there, and they're interesting because you have a really good goalie in the AHL for the Nashville Predators, who have done, if we look at it, a fantastic job of developing goalies. It's one of the goalies and defensemen. Now they can't develop a skill forward for the life of them at this point, but defensemen absolutely, and goaltending even more so, where it's just like they always find a way to develop these goaltenders, which all of a sudden you as the Nashville Predators, you're sitting on the outside a little bit, looking in on the wild card. Now you're still close. You could still make a push. We saw them. The reason that Matthias Ekholm is in Edmonton, we saw them start to be a little bit of sellers last year to go through it. Let's call it an active rebuild, not like a total scrapping, but an active rebuild.
Yep.
And the rumors with Soros in a league right now that is goalie starved, a lot of teams are goalie starved. Could be an incredibly valuable trade piece. And anytime all of a sudden your name starts getting floated out there, it's a little bit of a different situation. And I think added pressure for Soros, even because, he struggled a little bit this year. He's struggled. The last couple of years, he's been fantastic. We know he's incredibly athletic, not the biggest goalie, but just a pure athlete and plays. He's not like a Carey Price in terms of, how technical he plays. He relies on his athleticism, but just does it so well. Struggled a little bit this year. So I think there's even more pressure on him right now than normally. And for a team that's trying to scratch back into it, all of a sudden have those trade rumors floating around that, you got to wonder how it affects the guy mentally. So he's a big part of the game. He is the type of goalie that can steal you hockey games. So for the Edmonton Oilers, trying to get to him early, trying to make life difficult for him is going to be very important. But yeah, the gossip line has started with Soros, and I just think it's going to be an interesting time, especially heading to the All-Star break for him mentally. And if the Oilers can expose it, maybe they can expose it with a guy that hasn't been, quite up to his normal level.
Right, and he's an all-star caliber goaltender, and like his numbers, I'll go through them really quickly again because I mentioned it earlier. He's 19, 18, and 1. That's the record. 291 goals against average. Oh, okay. 904 save percentage. Oh, okay. 2 shutouts this season in 38 games. This is a Preds team cast that's like, as of going into action today, they do have the second wildcard spot, but just barely. Like you mentioned, they have played one more game than St. Louis, which is a St. Louis Blues team that's rattled off 4 straight wins. They're right above the Blues, and they have played 1 extra game. So Nashville's going to have to decide, like, are you going to – they have no hope of catching anybody else in the Central unless Dallas, Winnipeg, or Colorado decides to fall off. Right now, the Preds are 11 points back of the Stars.
Not happening. Even if those teams go through a struggle, like – Nashville, even if they play really well, they're not getting 16 or 17 wins in a row. Like they're not going to put together that type of streak like Edmonton has thus far to, make up that many points. Or I think it was 9 points, when everything started with LA, and now they're a couple back of Vegas, and it's still, they still have work to do to catch Vegas, who started to play better again. So yeah, I mean, their only hope is a wild card spot. And Tommy, even based on last year and what they started to do at the deadline, and I believe they have quite a few UFAs this year as well. I'd have to take a peek at that again. I think they have a bunch of UFAs. To me, they're most likely going to be more sellers into the deadline, and it's going to be that situation where it's like, okay, we want to make that wild card spot. We want to push for it. Let's push for it. At the same time, let's try to take a look at continuing that rebuild, because as I said, this is a team, you still have some really good defensemen. You have one of the top guys in the league. And I was chatting with a couple of agents not that long ago and watching a period with them, or a couple periods of hockey with them at the John Reed tournament, and then, at the Oil Kings game, and a little bit all over. And so I, chatted with a bunch of them. And there was one in particular that he said, he's still one of the best in the league. And, for a team that has that, they can be really difficult to play against. And if they can find a way to add some offensive punch, they can still be a super dangerous team, because you have the goalie, you have the defenseman. They just lack some of that elite level caliber offensive talent. And if you can look to say, okay, we have another elite goaltender we can bring in here, and we could maybe get some assets in that we can either bring in that elite level talent, or have draft picks for the next couple of years that are going to help us get there. I think that's the direction that Nashville is going to go. Now, some of it could depend on how they play in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll have to see with that, but I would wager that they still are in that active selling rebuild mode. But who exactly they move out, that's going to be the big question.
Cass, they do have a bunch of UFAs next year, but they're more so depth guys. Trennan, Tomazino is an RFA, Gurianov UFA, Tommy Novak. UFA. Luke Evangelista has 1 year left. Michael McCarron, UFA. Kiefer Sherwood, UFA. On defense, Tyson Barrie, who obviously wants out of Nashville. It's not working out there. He's had his public spat with Barry Trotz, who's the GM now of the Preds. And then Alexander Carrier is a UFA. And then Dante Fabro is an RFA. So they do have a bunch of work to do in the offseason if they want to reshape this team. So we'll see where they go. And what do you do with UC Saros? And I would assume, but you're right. They have Askarov, right? That's their up and comer down in Milwaukee.
And he's playing really, really well down there. Yeah. I can't remember what the goalie of the year award is in the A off the top of my head for whatever reason right now, but very likely or possible that he wins that.
Well, that would be interesting and a good chip to be able to leverage to get something good. And you talk about the offensive punch that the Preds can't seem to always find consistently. Yeah, maybe they can do something there. All right, it is Game Changers with Matt Kassian, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Number 1 was Old Man Perry. Number 2, Gossip Goalie. Number 3, Cass, smoother consistency.
Yep, looking for that smoother consistency after 2 games against not great teams where it was inconsistent. They had moments in both those games, the first 2 periods against Columbus, and I think a pretty healthy chunk of that Chicago game as well, where they just weren't as crisp and as good as they should be. Now, the Chicago game, they controlled the play. They had way more offensive zone time, but it was still perimeter. And they still, from a habit standpoint, there was a good chunk of that game. They weren't getting pucks to the net, or if they were, there wasn't really anyone around the net. Like it was a lot of passing around and looking like, yeah, we have the puck. We're toying with them, but not actually really being threatening. And they need to get back to what has made them successful in those games at the end of the game against Columbus and against Chicago in just playing that up tempo, get pucks to the net and attack through the middle style of hockey. So smoothing that out a little bit would be important. Now, had a chance to watch practice yesterday, or a good chunk of practice for the Oilers, and I would say it was let's call it a fairly standard day before the game practice, where it was trying to bring in some tempo, work a little bit on the power play, not doing anything crazy. I mean, it really has been what they've been doing and working on the entire time. But I'm just hoping that they can find a little bit more of that consistency again. We talk about habits and we talk about wanting to play the right way. And for this team, I think it is important after playing a couple games where you did win, which is fantastic. You found ways to win, which is fantastic. But getting back to that full, just consistent from the start of the game to the end of the game, playing that full 60 minutes, I think that's an important goal for them tonight. Coming to the gate, playing well, carry through a whole period playing well, carry through another period playing well, carrying through the third and playing well. Just that beginning to end sort of game where they've done that multiple times over this streak. I mean, you wouldn't have a streak without of this magnitude without doing that and doing it often, but we've seen a little bit of a slip the last 2 games. So want to see that consistency and that smoothness back in their game this afternoon.
Cass, I find it to be interesting when I listen to and see Chris Noblock kind of show a bit of frustration because he's pretty even keeled. What do you make of him bringing to light, without really hiding it, his quote unquote frustration with the process in which the Oilers are getting these wins?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as a coach, your job is to not just get wins, but to prepare players for the long term and to keep everyone playing well. I mean, that's what you're trying to do. And I'm not surprised he's frustrated. As I said, you played against 2 not great teams and you had a lot of things creep into your game that weren't great. Now, again, they found ways to win, which is fantastic. And he's undoubtedly happy with that they've managed to get those wins. But he also knows, as I think most of us do, that if you play that same way and you give a team that's even a team that's a bubble playoff team or a bubble wildcard team like Nashville, if you give them 2 periods of space, most teams are going to take advantage of it. Now, tougher for Columbus to do it, tougher for Chicago to do it. I mean, 2 not great teams, Chicago especially with the number of injuries that they had, but I get the frustration there. And he doesn't want to see his team slip. He doesn't want to see his team slip because, if you slip and all of a sudden you lose a game and now you keep playing that way, well, you could see the losses stack up a little bit if you can't get it turned around and find that consistency to your game again. So I get his frustration. I get it. And, I don't doubt that he has communicated that to his players where it's been like, hey, great job getting the win, guys. That's fantastic. but we have to be sharper. We can be better. We can improve. And when we're playing better teams, we're going to get crushed if we play this way, guys. So, let's clean this thing up. I totally get the frustration.
Cass, one last thing before I read a couple of texts, because there's people with some good comments today in the nasty chat and the text line. But we got an update on the Preds lineup from Zach Gilchrist, who is the Preds beat writer and content manager. It's O'Reilly between Forsberg and Nyquist, Sissons between Trenin and Guryanov, Glass with Novak and Evangelista, McCarron between Smith and Sherwood. On defense, Yossi Fabro, McDonough Shen, Lausanne Carrier, Kevin Lankinen starts in net.
Oh, Soros not even in. That's an interesting one.
Tyson Berry and Tomazino are the scratches. And I'm going to read off Lankinen's stat line just to get the update to everyone. Kevin Lankinen getting the start in goal, not UC Saros. 6-3 this season in 13 games. 312 goals against average, 898 save percentage. Lifetime versus the Oilers, Lankinen, who played for Chicago for a bit too before becoming a Pred. A 1-2 record, 383 GAA, 886 save percentage in 4 appearances versus the Oilers. So that's interesting. Them going to Lankinen this afternoon.
Yep, very interesting. And I wonder if some of that has to do with like a Leon Draisaitl and his success against Soros the last number of games that they've played, possibly in the Oilers' offensive capacity. But that's a little bit of an interesting one. Certainly not what I was expecting. I mean, I just assumed that a game of this magnitude for Nashville, because it is a huge game for them, huge game for Edmonton too. I thought they were going to go with their number one goaltender. So especially, I think this is Nashville's last game before the break. I believe it's their last game before the break. So it's a little bit surprising.
I'll confirm that. Yes. Well, no, they play Ottawa on the 29th.
Okay, so they got one more. Okay.
Yeah, they've got one more. Okay, Cass, I want to throw these at you, some good comments. This one from Silver Capri that says, Cass, put your keyboard on the heat vent. It will dry fast enough. And then another one says, did Cass not pay his heating bill? What's with the toque, the beanie? It's just a look. I like the style, Cass.
Well, you know what? I was outside earlier with the kiddos. Took them sledding earlier in the day, and so I just haven't taken it off.
Yeah, I don't mind it at all. It's a good look. All right, Cass, great stuff as always. Take care of that keyboard. It'll be okay.
Yeah, we'll get through it. I emotionally, I'm a little bent out of shape right now, but I'm sure I'll recover.
You will. You're a strong individual with a good head on his shoulders, and that was an excellent edition of Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Remax Elite. Enjoy the game, pal, and I'll catch up with you on the postgame.
Sounds good. Thanks, bud.
That is Matt Kassian bringing us Game Changers, getting us set for the Oilers and the Predators. Yeah, Kevin Lankinen in goal versus Edmonton, and then we'll see Stuart Skinner at the other end of the rink. YouTube Trev, let's say we get to some more Oilers audio and video. Want to get to Chris Noblock?
Yeah, let's do it up. Here is Chris Noblock.
He's ready to go. Are you able to confirm that at this point? And how have you thought he's looked?
Things looked really good for not being able to play for a long period of time. You know, he was on the ice a little bit, skating, but until you're having an NHL practice and doing game-like drills, you never know. But I think he's done really well. I haven't followed up with him after practice, but right now it's looking as if he'll play tomorrow.
So can you just give us a thought process on the line mates? We were sort of joking with him about two of the faster skaters on the team. That'll be, he's got a pacing-wise there. Just why do you think that's a good fit?
I think every line you like to have, some speed. You definitely can't have 3 slow guys. You need somebody getting in on the forecheck. You need that. You want some goal-scoring ability and, usually a playmaker. And it's often when you get, the right mix, it doesn't work. But I think you'll add a lot of finishing ability. Somebody who's going to be at the net. And I just think a very smart hockey player where knows the right play and knows where to be and helping those guys. I think Dylan has, he's only played a couple games and hasn't been on the ice very much, but for his time that he's been out there, he's been making plays. Ryan McLeod's confidence is through the roof right now. He's playing extremely well, making plays. I think a smart goal-scoring player like Corey will, in my mind, I think it'll be a good line for us.
Chris, you guys keep knocking down milestones, with this streak, with the team record, Canadian record. The NHL record is right around the corner, and you it's an interesting situation where you can get to within a game, but then you have 10 days to think about it. I guess I just want to know where the streak is in the back of your guys' minds about trying to get to that 17 and maybe beyond.
The first that you've mentioned it, I had no idea about 17, so we haven't talked about it. I don't know. All I know is we're trying to win our last game going into the break. I think everyone would feel extremely good about themselves. They'd be happy about what they've accomplished this last month, 2 months, 3 months, and put ourselves in a position in the standings where we are, and being able to relax and feel good about themselves, enjoy the week off, and get ready to come back and start the second half of the season. So the streak's just an afterthought. We're winning games. I love it. I know it's been a long time since we lost a game, and that's about all I know about the streak.
So in the daily grind, can you kind of enjoy what you guys are accomplishing, or is this something that has to be looked back on and say, wow, that was pretty impressive what we put together?
No matter what team you're with, when you're winning hockey games, it feels good, and you're enjoying it. You like coming to the rink, and no matter if it's 1, 2, 5, 10, whatever game streak it is, when you're in an atmosphere of winning hockey games, everyone's just in a good mood, and everyone likes coming and being on the ice, and you just see the energy today on the ice. I liked it. It's just contagious. One guy feels good about themselves, it spreads to the next guy, and I think everyone's in a pretty good spot.
And how do you feel about the manner you're winning games? This is Edmonton. People are critiquing wins now, right? It's one of those things. How do you guys feel about the way you're playing and the way you're pulling?
We can't score 7 every night, and we can't play a good defensive game every night. I'm happy with our guys, how committed they are playing defense. They're checking, they're getting above pucks, they're in spots, they're not cheating on offense. There's things about our game I would like to be a little bit better, and I think a lot of it is our puck play, our puck decisions. Anytime we've been getting in trouble, it's usually off a turnover, trying something that's not there. And we want to not be a safe team all the time. We don't want to be dump and chase, but we have to recognize when or playing our percentages. Is there an opportunity to make a play? If it doesn't look like it, let's do the safe thing. And right now, I think when we've been getting in trouble, it's just we haven't made the right plays with the puck.
Through this win streak, obviously Stuart Skinner is on this huge personal winning streak as well. That's a record breaker here. Can you talk just about his demeanor and his influence on the team as a whole when he's confident, he has this quiet confidence about him? What does that mean how does that spread through the room?
I actually don't think his demeanor has changed very much. Even, in December, he had a couple bad games or one bad game and maybe a couple losses in a row. I thought he handled himself very similar to how he's handling himself right now. Obviously, with the way he's playing right now is the top of his game, that everyone sees that and they feel good about themselves and they feel confident when he's in the net. But a lot of credit for him is, you don't want to get too high or down too low. And, through this stretch, he's stayed pretty much the same. So that's, I think, very positive.
There's some games where I'm sure you have a really strong idea what you're going to get out of your team the next day. Then there's maybe games like tomorrow where, the guys got their bags packed for Cabo and the kids are ready to travel and there's a lot of distractions, right, heading into this last game. What's it like as a coaching a game like this when everyone's scattering across the world the next day?
It's new for me. I'm not sure exactly what to expect. I think our guys are very professional and are focused on the task at hand, and I think they want to go out on a high note and really enjoy their week off because they've earned it. And, heading out on that break with a win would be really nice, if we don't get it, which is quite likely because we are playing a really good team that's playing some good hockey right now. So hopefully we can bring our best.
Chris, going back to Dylan Holloway for a second, of course, you had him very briefly in your first game. as an NHL head coach. As he's kind of trying to cement himself back into the lineup and rebuild that confidence, what role do you play in that? What does your approach look like to make sure that a young player like Dylan Holloway is able to bring his best each and every night?
Well, it's not just up to me. It's I think we've got a team of coaches that are working with him, whether it's Glenn Gulletson, Mark Stewart, Dave Pelche, doing skills before and working with him after. And even when he was in Bakersfield, David had contacted with him and actually visited with him there and followed up with his shifts. So a lot of it has been David. Myself following up with my expectations of what I want from him and not getting the making him feel that he has to do so much to stay and build on his role. Just ultimately, same as messages I've been telling the team on, what their role is and keeping things simple and playing hard and fast and just letting your skill and instincts take over. And I think he's been doing a great job of that, not trying to do too much. And he's been able to contribute quite a bit. So hopefully it continues that way.
I know you mentioned that if Perry is available, there will be one player coming out. Based off the initial rushes today, it looked like maybe Sam Gagner might slip out of the lineup, but Sam was joyful. He was having some fun with his teammates. He was laughing. What does that precedent set for the rest of the group when you have who people call Papa Oiler, Papa Clutch, obviously well regarded in that room, but he's still conducting himself in a way to be the best teammate he can be?
I think we got a full group of guys who are good teammates, and we got a good atmosphere. It's a difficult situation for a coach to take somebody out, especially when you're on a 15-game winning streak, and we've been playing really well, and we've been getting contributions from everybody. And telling somebody that they're not coming out is tough, and it's a lot easier if you've lost 4 in a row and you have to make a lineup change. That's easy, but when things are going well, you never want to change things. But I think the guys that we have are very professional and respect what's going on.
That's a great problem to have. Chris Noblock talking about Sam Gagner, one of the elder statesmen on this Oilers team. Corey Perry goes in. He's the oldest guy on the team at 38 years of age, making his debut. Has not played since November. People excited to see Perry in action, but yeah, it comes at the cost of Sam Gagner coming out of the lineup. I want to get to a couple of texts before we wrap things up. California Sam sent in a picture of his daughter, adorable, food all over her face, sitting at her high chair, watching the pregame show. Says, my daughter is hyped to be able to watch the boys this afternoon. Go Oil. California Sam. I love it. Pillman says, looks like it's lining up for an Oil win against Gentlemen. Scared of 29. LO, enjoy the win. Whoop, whoop. And then Normology comes in with this one. Different mindset for Normology. Says, oh, crap. Matinee game and a backup goalie. Oiler. Kryptonite. And then Coach Mike adds, chase history, Oil, 16 wins. Let's go. Coach Mike with that one. Fat Dan liked the story that Cass was saying about having to fight Getzlav. And then Northside Adam checking in. Which line do you think we're going to see start? I'm not sure. I wouldn't mind seeing Perry in the starting lineup or out there to start the game in his Oilers debut. What say you? YouTube Trev to wrap things up. Get on there, my friend.
So I wouldn't mind that as well, Tommy. And the Oilers have kind of been doing that a lot lately, where they haven't really been starting with the big guys. So who knows? Time will tell. I don't mind that, but that's definitely, that's what my eyes will be drawn to the most, I think, for tonight or today's game. But like you said, I think it was Normology. The last time that the Oilers played the Predators, it was also a matinee game. It's a different team, but they did not show up. And this is the last game before the break, right? So you'd expect 110% effort from these guys, right? I'm assuming that's what they got to be telling themselves, right? Like, this is the last hurrah for a little bit. So I'm expecting, and they should absolutely bring it. That's what I'm expecting. So here's hoping in 3 hours time, we're talking about a 16th straight win for your Edmonton Oilers.
Crazy to say. It's been an incredible run. Let's see if it continues this afternoon. Oilers and Predators. Skinner in one end of the net, putting his winning streak on the line. And then we'll see Kevin Lankinen at the other end. 110% always from YouTube, Trev, and I appreciate that big time. Same with Matt Kassian. And I also appreciate everyone watching, listening. We appreciate that so much. Enjoy the Oilers and the Predators. We'll catch up on the post-game show. Ciao for now.